Hi, I'm Bob Burg. When discussing the sales process, the word value is brought up very often, and for good reason, because value is really what it's all about. In a free enterprise based economy, it's the value for value exchange, in which both sides end up being better off than they were before the exchange, which is what brings abundance to a society. So, what is value? I mean, it's one thing to say the word, but as always, we want to define it so that we're all on the same wavelength and we are coming at it from the same direction. Well, I think what we really have to understand is the difference between price and value. A price is a dollar figure, it's a dollar amount, it's finite, it is what it is. Value, on the other hand, can be defined as the relative worth or desirability of a thing to the end user. In other words, what is it about this thing, this product, this service, this concept, this idea that brings so much worth or value to a person that they'll be happy to exchange their money for it and they'll be ecstatic that they did, while the seller makes a very significant and healthy profit. Let's use as an example an accountant who you hire to do your taxes. And this accountant charges you $2,000. That's his fee or his price. But through the value he provides, the work he provides, his knowledge, his skill, the way he and his team make you feel throughout the transaction, he really provides value in such ways that he saves you well over $6,000 that you wouldn't have known how to save otherwise. He saves you a lot of time, and he, perhaps most importantly, provides you with the security and peace of mind of knowing it was done correctly. So we see here that value takes a couple of different forms. There's concrete value, that's the $6,000 in savings. You can really wrap your hands around that one. The time that has been saved, well, that's sort of concrete but also conceptual. We can place time and money together, not quite as easily. But the last part, the peace of mind, well, that's easy to conceptualize, isn't it? Because when you think of it, it's like the old Visa commercial. That one is priceless. So what this accountant did is he charged you $2,000, but he gave you well over $6,000 in value. He gave you more in value or use value than he took from you in payment. So you feel great about it. And again, so does he, because he made a very, very healthy profit. And that's the kind of relationship we want to have with anyone with whom we do business. We want to give them so much more in value than we take in payment that they are just delighted by the transaction, and so are we. They come away feeling great, and we come away making a very healthy profit. And that's one reason why I really want to see people not get sucked into that who can sell at the lowest price or who can discount the most. That's a race to the bottom that no one ever wins, including the client or customer. Because what they've done is they've put you in a situation where at best you can't service the sale properly, and at worst you might be out of business if you're doing this too often, and then they are really out of luck. So instead of focusing on the price, let's focus on providing value and communicating that value. One way to communicate value is simply by putting your focus where it belongs, on the prospect, on the customer, on the client. John David Mann, my awesome author, co-author of the Go-Giver and Go-Givers Sell More, we both say that money is an echo of value. It's the thunder to value's lightning, which really means nothing more than the value comes first, followed by the money. So if you're focused on that other person, if you're focused on providing great value to them, they're going to be able to sense that. And if what you're offering fits with their needs, wants, or desires, they will exchange their money for it. Remember this unchangeable, immutable law of economics. People will exchange their money for that which they feel is of equal or greater value than the money they're exchanging it for. Obviously, the more value or perceived value compared to the money the greater the chances are they're going to want to do business with you and be happy with that exchange. So the focus on value on that other person comes first. If, on the other hand, that person can sense, and they always can, whether consciously or unconsciously, that you're really looking at them as nothing more than a big dollar sign, as a commission check, they're probably not going to like you, they're not going to trust you, and the chances are they're not going to do business with you. So the first part is communicating that your focus is on them, where it should be. Now, there are many ways to provide value to others, probably thousands of ways. John and I boil it down into 5 main, what we call aspects of value. And those are excellence, consistency, attention, empathy, and appreciation. And these are what you want to communicate throughout the selling process, which includes after that sale has been completed. So my question for you is, how can you, by first focusing on that other person and then bringing in those 5 aspects of value, how can you communicate that focus? How can you communicate your value to others so that they choose to do business with you and refer you to many others? I'm Bob Burg. Make it a great day.